Hello everybody, welcome to day 17 of the Rogue Tanks devlog. I'm going to show you what I've done, and then I'll get into the code of how I did it. First off, the missile tank I changed to have 3 missiles shown on top. And as you can see with the red tank up here, as I shoot a missile, it comes off the top of the tank to where there's nothing left until the missiles collide with something, and then the missiles show up back again on top of the tank as soon as they're available to use. If I were to upgrade my max missiles to 4 or something, it wouldn't change the visuals. It just means I wouldn't take a missile off until I had only 2 shots left. With the normal tank, I added this line. It's a faded line. It's supposed to help with aiming. It could be very dependent on your tank color and the environment that you're in, that it's visible or not. But I mean, you've got that or the crosshairs. So it's only if you're using the no crosshair version that it draws that line for you. Maybe I will just change it back to full on visible instead of being faded like that. I really wanted to show the missile mini boss I made. He's got some bounce on his missiles, so he basically just aims for you. And I gotta say, I did cheat a little bit with the missiles. They don't really aim. So the way that the regular missiles work is that you have to manually aim them. The way that the boss's missiles work is that he can manually aim each of them. So if we split up, wow, that sucks. If we split up, he could aim them at 2 different tanks. And without any upgrades, this boss seems impossible, which is why you don't fight him until at least 10 levels in, or is it 9? Another thing, again with the versus mode, I have a random button now. So if I click on this, it'll just randomly pick one of those levels for me. Oh, see, I don't really want the line to be drawn. I know what I need to do to eliminate that. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to the code. The player object draws that line. If I just get rid of this or change it to 1, now it'll draw just like that. If I don't want it to happen when I'm on the mouse controls, then input ID does not equal keyboard and mouse. There we go. That should fix that problem. As for the missiles, I have 3 lines here that draw the missiles on top of the missile tank. So case 3, that's the missile tank. If bullet count less than max bullets, -2, -1, and just max bullets, this is the last missile that stays on in the center of the tank. These other 2 are on the sides, and the way they're drawn on the sides and rotate with the tank is using this length direction X and length direction Y functions, so that they're basically 8 pixels over in the direction of the tank, plus 270 and 90 being left and right in respect to the direction of the tank, and it just of course matches the tank's color. That's how those missiles get drawn on top of the tank. As for the missile tank boss, the object missile normally, the missiles are manually controlled by the player, where if it's a boss using it, and it makes sure that the player exists so it doesn't freak out and crash, it finds the nearest player, and I have this length direction X and length direction Y in here just to give it preference to a player in front of the missile, rather than if there's a player right immediately behind the missile, it won't try to turn around and get that player. Instead, it'll go straight for the player ahead of it. So it finds that player and it points towards it, and it finds the angle difference between it, and it changes. It's the same kind of code that I use for the mouse controls. Instead of finding a point where the cursor is, it finds a point where the nearest player is, and it goes towards it. And these missiles are working independently, so if it was multiplayer, the boss's missiles could go after different players, which is not really something you can do as a human player using the missiles, but where it's a boss, it's supposed to be harder than a regular enemy, right? It's kind of hard to show off here, but I also have this unlock system. In the create event, there's this level unlock array, which is 40 big because there's 40 levels, and if it's false, it's locked. If it's true, it's unlocked, and then these extra levels are just unlocked by default when you start a new game. These levels would be saved in the future. I don't have a save system yet, but what you have unlocked will be saved in the future. And the way that I have levels unlock is that this is my victory check after all the enemies are defeated. It goes through this check for the upgrades and stuff. Right in here, there's this switch for checking what room you're in, and if you're in this particular room, then it just makes that spot in the array true. So that level is then just unlocked in the array. And this also means that the level won't be unlocked unless you beat the level. In order to add that random button, when you hit confirm, if you're on cursor slot -1, which is the random button, it'll first randomize your room. It'll just go ahead and pick a random number. and then it checks while your cursor in the level unlock array, if that cursor position is false, meaning it's not unlocked yet, then it'll pick a new random number. And it'll just keep doing that until it finds something that's already unlocked, and it'll then just take you there. If you want more details on anything that I did, let me know in the comments below. I think the next thing I need to do is actually start making the last batch of levels. I still don't have a versus mode victory screen, so that's also something I need to work on. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.